everyone, this is Anmol from Arkirio Design Studio. Can you guess where we are today? Well, we are in an apartment which pays true ode to the Royal Pavilion name of Sobha. So here we have Mr. Pulkit and Mrs. Aditi at their beautiful apartment in Sobha Royal Pavilion. So sir, thank you so much for joining us today. So please tell me your journey with Arkirio. How did you happen to choose Arkirio and start the journey with us?
It was a bit of a journey. We explored a lot of options before actually finalizing Arkirio. What we liked about Arkirio was the fact that they actually were able to understand what we are actually looking for. They were able to understand the design that we are planning for, and they were actually able to replicate our thoughts into the design. And they were actually fitting into exactly the affordable luxury segment that we were looking for. So that's what stood out for Arkirio for us compared to a lot of designers that we researched in that period of time.
So I was very confused because sometimes you would have a good rapport with the person, the designer, but then you would not the budget would not fit, right? So I always wanted that I want to have a designer who can understand what I really need. And since you said that it's a royal sort of Rajasthan theme apartment, I really wanted that design element to be there. So I think what fit the bill for us was that the designer understood what we wanted, but it was also coming in our budget and the quality that they promised us. So all of that really, convinced me to go ahead with that.
Okay. So we've had a very fun time designing the house with you. We would also like to know from you which spot has been your favorite in this house ever since you moved in. So from both sir and you, ma'am, you can just tell us which spots you like the best.
So for me, it has to be the dresser. So I always wanted a full length mirror, and I always wanted like a lot of storage because girls, right?
Yeah.
What I had thought it to be, it has a lot of space for my vanity, for my jewelry, and for all my clothes, and it has a full length, very beautiful mirrors. And the second one has to be kitchen. So I cook a lot. I love to cook and I love to host. So I wanted a kitchen which is spacious, which is making use of all the space very nicely, and which has enough storage space, but it is still looking aesthetically very pleasing, right? So I think the color combination, the storage space, and the way it has turned out to be, I think it has to be, both actually are on similar lines, both held the first spot, the dresser and the kitchen.
Okay. And what about you, sir?
So for me, the puja unit stands out, and I think it's one of those unique spaces which I'll always look forward when I enter my house, that what kind of space we have for puja. And the thing that sets this apart, it's not the usual one. It has the gates which are very unique. It has the jharokha and the jalis on the top, which is actually symbolic to the theme that we wanted to be consistent with, the Rajasthani theme. So these are the things that actually makes the puja unit very special for me. I think the other one is absolutely the living room. The amount of space that we see in the living room, it signifies the minimalism, but at the same time there are a touch of luxury in bits and pieces. The combination of wallpapers with the TV unit, the highlights of the mirrors in the crockery unit, that just adds up to and complements the space a lot. So for me, the puja unit and the living room, that's my favorite.
What made you really refer us to so many of your friends and people in Royal Pavilion? So we just want to know, what is it that really, really touched your heart in this entire project?
I think 3 words comes to my mind. Experience. Our experience was simply fabulous, especially with the designer. I think, right from step 1 till the end point where we were supposed to select the lights, the curtains, the handles of the wardrobe, our designer was always with us. So our experience with the designer was absolutely fabulous, and that's what made us to refer to other as well. The second one is the quality, right? I think along with the design, it's important that the kind of material that the company is using, is it going to last, is it sustainable? And we experienced that Arkirio is actually using quite top-notch quality material. And the third one is the persistence. I think there were times when we had to go back and forth in terms of designing, in terms of making sure that it hits the spot. And that's where I felt that that the designer was extremely patient with us. We had so many rounds of changes, but the persistency and the patience with which our designer actually went through is simply commendable. So that makes us feel comfortable that if we are referring someone to Arkirio, they are going to have a similar experience that we had, and that's why we are very comfortable referring Arkirio to others.
Okay. What about you, ma'am?
All right. So I think for me, more than the aesthetic aspect of it, functionality for me came first. So for every corner of my house, if there is a design element, I always was looking for what is the functionality of it, and that's where doing those back and forth conversations with our designer and making sure that things are functionally good. They will help me managing the house well, but they also look aesthetically pleasing is where it really hit the sweet spot for me. So I know budget and everything else comes into picture, but for me, when designing our own house, I think functionality combined with beauty took sort of priority for me, and that's where I think that I can always very firmly tell my friends that if you go with Arkirio, they will make sure that your space is functional as well as it looks beautiful.